Sydney during the commemorations of the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah on the 14th of December, as a result of which innocent civilians, including a Russian compatriot, died. We extend our deepest condolences to the families of the dead, and we wish a speedy recovery to those who have been injured. Thank you for your attention.
I thank the representative of the Russian Federation for the statement, and I give the floor to the representative of China.
Thank you, President. I wish to begin by expressing our condolences to the victims of the mass shooting that struck Sydney, Australia, and expressing our solidarity with the bereft families and those injured. I thank Deputy Special Coordinator Mr. Alakbarov for his briefing. When the Middle East is in turmoil, the world cannot be at peace. The Palestinian question remains at the very heart of the challenges in the Middle East. The latest outbreak of the Gaza conflict has brought unimaginable suffering to both Palestinian and Israeli civilians and triggered severe spillover effects across the Middle East. While the first phase ceasefire agreement in Gaza has been reached, the prospect of peace remains distant. The historical injustices endured by the Palestinian people persist. The Palestinian question should never be relegated to the margins. The international community must further build consensus and take more proactive actions to advance a political solution. First, violent conflict must not resume. A comprehensive and lasting ceasefire in Gaza must be secured. Over the past 2 months, frequent violations of the ceasefire agreement in Gaza have resulted in the death of over 300 civilians. Reaching a ceasefire agreement must entail the complete cessation of all hostilities, not merely a downgrade from intense conflict to a low-intensity attacks. Any reckless violation of the agreement could jeopardize and ultimately collapse the tenuous ceasefire. China calls on all parties, Israel in particular, to immediately fulfill their commitments under the ceasefire agreement, refrain from actions that could escalate tensions, and work toward achieving a genuine, comprehensive, and lasting ceasefire. Relevant mediating parties should take concrete steps to ensure the implementation of the ceasefire agreement. Second, the suffering of civilians must not continue. Urgent action is needed to improve the humanitarian situation in Gaza. Winter storms have brought torrential rains, inundating numerous temporary camps and placing hundreds of thousands of displaced people under severe threat. Israel's continued restrictions on access to essential supplies are impeding the efforts of UNRWA and other humanitarian agencies to deliver critical assistance. Last week, the UN General Assembly overwhelmingly adopted a resolution supporting the advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice, which clearly affirms Israel's obligations as the occupying power to ensure humanitarian supplies to Gaza and to cooperate with UNRWA and other relevant agencies. China urges Israel to earnestly fulfill its obligations under international law, open all border crossings, lift access restrictions on humanitarian supplies, and support the work of the UN and other aid agencies. Third, the situation in the West Bank must not be overlooked. Unilateral actions in violation of international law must cease immediately. The occupying power continues to advance settlement policies, demolish Palestinian homes, condone settler violence resulting in massive civilian casualties and displacement, settlement activities violate international law and Council Resolution 2334, shrinking Palestinian living space, and eroding the foundations of the two-state solution. We call on Israel to immediately cease all settlement activities, curb settler violence, and refrain from undermining the governance foundations of the Palestinian Authority. This includes the prompt return of withheld tax revenues and the removal of restrictions imposed on the Palestinian economy. Fourth, justice and fairness must prevail. The two-state solution must be implemented without delay. Implementing the two-state solution, establishing an independent state of Palestine, is the only viable path to resolving the Palestinian question. Any arrangements concerning Gaza's future must be guided by the principle of Palestinians governing Palestine. Any attempt to alter Gaza's territorial or demographic composition must be firmly rejected. 1 month has passed since the Security Council adopted Resolution 2803. The relevant country should act with a sense of responsibility toward the Palestinian people, the Security Council, and the international community by providing timely updates to the Council and ensuring the Council's close and sustained attention and effective engagement. The international community must redouble its efforts to advance the two-state solution, support the early establishment of an independent state of Palestine, and facilitate its full membership in the UN. President, China firmly supports the just cause of the Palestinian people in restoring their legitimate national rights. Recently, President Xi Jinping has on multiple occasions comprehensively articulated China's position and proposals for resolving the Palestinian question and announced that China will provide $100 million in assistance to Palestine to help alleviate the humanitarian crisis in Gaza and support its recovery and reconstruction. China will continue to work with the international community to promote a comprehensive and lasting ceasefire in Gaza, alleviate the humanitarian crisis, and make unremitting efforts towards a comprehensive, just, and lasting solution to the Palestinian question at an early date. Thank you, President.
I thank the representative of China for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of the United States.